Hey everyone, it's Charles again. Thanks for coming back. So last week we began off talking about real estate investing in Toronto, and we discussed some of the reason why you may consider investing in real estate. We spoke about replacing job income, retire early, provide options in life in case you have a illness or there's something unpredictable that happens. It's life, so it does happen. We talk about real estate is a great way of store of value. Cash is infinite versus land is finite, right? We spoke about if you're a good landlord, if you have good heart, you are providing affordable housing options. So you're filling the middle gap, right? Real estate is great because of leverage, right? And it has a lot of tax benefits. It is an investment that you can actually get an insurance on, right? So that's where we left off last week. This week, I just want to touch on how you can make money in real estate. Like, how much can you actually make? I think a lot of people have in their mind, you know, well, I can make a lot of money in short period of time by flipping or doing other strategies. But today I like to put that into actual numbers for you to see so you get an idea. And we're gonna just focus on two different strategies. One is gonna be single family home, and another one is gonna be duplex, which is basically single family home, but you have two units. The strategy that I like to focus on is buy, rent, and hold strategy. So we're not flipping. I'm not a short-term trader. My intent is to be a long-term investor. We buy good properties for nice families in nice areas, and we just hold for long term. In this example, we are talking about a $500,000 home, just to make the math simple, and we're putting down 20% in down payment, and the average rent is going to be around $2,100 per month. So there are three components to making money in real estate. The first is going to be your monthly cash flow. Second is going to be your mortgage pay down. That is the tenant paying down the principal portion of your loan. So when you sell, you get that money back. It's kind of like a forced saving. And the third is the appreciation. This is what everybody talks about. So if we take a look for this example, the cash flow with mortgage payment, property tax, and insurance, we're talking about roughly around $200 left after every month. And don't be fooled, right? Think long term. This 200 per month is just the first year that you acquire the property. So as the rent increase, and typically it does, and the mortgage payment decrease, the cash flow will grow over time. This $200, even though right now might be a mediocre deal, or it might be struggling just to pay off its own expense, with time, gradually, that's gonna grow, right? But be careful. So, you know what? In a lot of times in these real estate investment town, we are buying 50, 60, 70-year-old homes, sometimes even 100-year-old homes, century homes. So even though the numbers that this $200 only takes care of mortgage payment, tax, and insurance, in reality is that these older homes often requires maintenance, right? I had one of the property, just a water tank leak, so that was one cost. I had some animal issues entering to attic. That was another cost, right? So there's always going to be something that will happen, and it is very important you account for that. Typically have a reserve fund. Um, And also you'll have vacancies time to time, the tenants are gonna leave. So between one tenant leaving and the next tenant moving in, you may experience 1 month or 2 months worth of vacancy. Um, Knock on wood, so far that hasn't happened to me yet. I invest in Hamilton, and pretty much the vacancy is zero for now. But down the road, you never know, right? And also, if you're picky with filling your tenant, then obviously your vacancy is going to be more. Property management. Some people likes to have the property totally passive. You may live in Toronto and you invest in, let's say, Hamilton or even further, St. Catherine or Welland or Niagara. You don't want to get up there. So if that's you and you don't want to meet your deal with your tenant and you don't really want to deal with the ongoing maintenance of the property, then you may hire a property manager, right? And also, you may have borrowing costs such as home equity line of credit. So if you put no money down and you just use a line of credit from your principal residence as source of your down payment, and then you borrow another 80% loan to value from another bank, then essentially you're no money down into this deal. So there's going to be your carrying cost for taking line of credit out, right? In this case, if you're buying $500,000 home, 20%, so $100,000 worth of line of credit you might be using. So if you're paying interest on that, if it's 4%, then it's like $400 per month, right? Make sure you're okay with that, right? And how conservative you run your number is up to you. But I have to say, some people I meet, clients or friends, they're just caught up with the numbers so much that you're missing out on a lot of deals, right? And you get to this analysis paralysis mode that if the deal cannot cash flow after vacancy, HELOC, property management, and when whatever cost you decide to include in your numbers, then potentially you keep on missing out on deals. And during that time, prices are appreciating, so you're really missing out, right? I just have to say, we not every time we're gonna find property that are going to be home runs, right? Singles and doubles, in baseball analogy, it's what we're aiming for, right? And just because the deal is single now doesn't mean it will turn home run with time, right? You might experience during your carrying if let's say you're carrying 5 years, maybe year one, year two, your appreciation is 4%, but year three, year four, all of a sudden market shift and you could be appreciating 10 plus 20%, just like what we're seeing now. So don't be fooled. Don't get caught up on the numbers so much. It's very important you take action and get into it and continuously improving what you've acquired. Okay, and mortgage paydown. So this is again, it's the principal portion of the mortgage that your tenant is paying. So for a single family home in this case, it's around 10,000 per year, right? And then you have your appreciation. Most of the deals I run, I use a 4% per year rate, but that is up to you. I just feel like 4%, if I can make money 4% per year steadily, then I feel pretty confident. So in first year, the total profit between your cash flow, mortgage paydown, and the appreciation for a single family home is going to be around $32,600. That's going to be, cash ROI of 30%. If you hold on to it for 2 years, then your total profit is 66,000, and your cash return on investment is going to be around 61%. If you hold on to 5 years, your total profit is going to be $173,000, and your ROI is going to be 159. If you hold on to 10 years, your total profit is going to be 375,000 and your return on investment is going to be 346%, right? So you might ask, how do you get this ROI number? Basically, it is just what's the money you put down divided by what's the profit that you got. So in our case, we put down 100,000 and then we're profiting 32,000 a year. Therefore, the return is going to be around 30%. This is cash on cash. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, so let's take a look at another strategy, which is my favorite, which is a duplex strategy. In this strategy, we're buying and we're renovating typically the basement to make it into a completely separate second unit. And then we're renting it out and we are refinancing with the new value because we bought it. So when we buy as a single family. By the time we finish renovating, it's going to be a legal duplex, legal two self-contained units within one roof. And then we rent it out and we refinance and we hold. This is my favorite strategy, and then hopefully I can explain why it's very attractive. So same thing, we're buying, for argument's sake, we're buying a $500,000 property. It's a single family. We put down 20% down just to acquire it. But in this case, we need another $100,000 worth of renovation. So all in, we're at $600K. If you look at a cash flow, all of a sudden we're talking about over $1,000 per month. That's because we are able to rent out both the main and the basement unit. So the total sum of the rent, subtract your carrying costs, is going to be around $1,000. Refinance is something we're going to touch on later. But let's say you just bought 500,000, and you put down 100,000, and you rent it out both units over $3,000. You're cash flowing around, 1,300 per month. The mortgage paydown is the same, around 10,000 per year, and appreciation, if it was 4%, and the first year, the total profit is going to be $46,000, and your return on investment is going to be 22%. Now you might look at that and be like, oh, it's not very high. Why is that? That's because the total money you put down is high. So in this case, we put down 100,000 for the 20% of down payment. And in addition to that, we put down another 100,000 of our own money in renovation. So the total money we put down is close to $200,000 plus closing costs. So not many people have access to this much capital, but if you do, for this strategy, it's great, but you will need to put down a lot of cash, right? So you may ask, okay, how can I get my money back? Like 200,000 is a lot, and you may even be temporary coming up with that kind of fund by borrowing from other unique source, but eventually you'll need the money back, right? So the solution to that is going through refinance. So refinance is basically you going back to the bank and say, hey man, the property that I bought at 500,000, right now it's no longer worth 500,000 because I've converted from a single family to a duplex. It's a change of use. I've added value, and this is what we call after repair value. Basically, the value of the property after renovation. So in this case, 500,000 we bought, we put another 100,000 in reno, and if it's worth 650 by the time you're complete with your project, then you've made essentially $50,000 within, let's say, 6 months. That's the typical lead time for renovating of a legal second suite. So let's go back to the bank and refinance. How does that work? The simple math is like this. So now you take your new values, which is 650, and then you take 80% of that 650. That'll give you 520. 520 is going to be your new loan value, and you subtract your old loan value, which is 400,000. That will get you $120,000 back into your pocket. This is cash, guys. So I'm just going to repeat. If you go back to the bank and bank sends an appraiser and that they said now it's worth 650,000, then the bank can essentially lend you 80% loan to value on that 650, which becomes 520, and then they will discharge the original loan, which is 400, and you get back 120,000. So 120,000, if you've been following, we put down 100,000 in renovation. So that's like you get all your money back for how much you're putting in renovation plus 20,000 from your down payment. So all after everything, you have 80,000 left in the deal and you own a $650,000 asset. So what happens if you refi? Let's take a look at the total profit. So in year one, after you refi, your total profit is $100,000. Why is that high? Because your cash flow has gone up. Your mortgage paydown is also up a little bit because your mortgage has increased. And your equity appreciation, so you have your original equity appreciation, which is based on the 500,000, plus you have $50,000 of forced appreciation through the strategic renovation that you've just done. That's why on the first year your total profit is 100,000, and plus you get back most of your renovation. Oh no, in this case, you got back more than what you put down in renovation, which is a home run scenario. And the key here is that the renovation cost has to be less than the force appreciation. In other way, the amount of force appreciation has to be greater than the amount of renovation you put down, right? So this is the key, right? So your return in this case is 70% just from 1 year. 70% just from 1 year. That is the reason why this strategy is very, very popular among investors. Let's take a look at second year. So after refinance, second year, your total profit is 100,000 and your return is 71. Not much change because your first year you had the forced appreciation, but second year you no longer have that, right? And if you hold on to 5 year, your total profit will be 264,000 and your return is 187,000 percent. And if you hold on to for 10 years, your total profit will be just above half a million, right? 566,000 in 10 years, and your return is going to be 400%. So, guys, like if you just had a one duplex and you did nothing but just hold on to it for 10 years, you have about $500,000 if it appreciated 4%, right? If you had two of those, you have about $1 million worth of asset if it appreciated only 4%. So that's the value, right? Let's just compare this to a single family. So for single family, let me just shrink this down. Single family, 4% appreciation. In 10 years, you'll make about 375 and your return is 346%. For duplex, in 10 years, you made 566 and your return is about 400%. So the essence of the story is that if you're willing to put down more of your time, because it's going to cost you at least 6 months of renovation, if you're willing to put that work, and if you have the 200,000 in capital for the down payment and the rental, the duplex strategy is gold, right? But if you don't, that's okay. If you only have 100,000, if you only have money for the down payment, then just do this single family. Your return is still good. This is better than not investing at all, right? Um, how can an average, let's say you have a job at your salary, man, how can you save 375,000 in 10 years? How can you save that? How can you save even 32,000 in 1 year, right? I've done it, so I know how hard it is to save after taxed salary income, right? But if you do have the capital, let's say you have 100,000 in cash and you have another 100,000 in line of credit or somewhere, then totally do this strategy because you're able to recoup more profit and more return at the same time. Right? Okay, so that's all I had for today. Hopefully that clarified for you how much money you can make through the two strategies that I've explained in real estate investing. And even though I use a generic example of $500,000 home, but the strategy and the methodology and the way you think about numbers applies even in today's market value, right? And once you done a two-unit addition, then sorry, two-unit conversion, then you can easily take that same strategy and do triplex, which is 3 units or 4 units, right? But the fundamental is two-unit conversions, right? You're buying single families and you're adding another unit legally with the city, all with permits, and hold on to it long term. It'll definitely be worth it. Okay, so guys, if you liked it, please if I'll appreciate it if you want to leave me a comment or if you can subscribe. If not, there's a link downstairs. You can just click on the link and download your free copy of my deal analysis spreadsheet. This is what I use to get the numbers. So get in the habit of running the numbers while you come across any kind of deals. Okay, thank you. Bye for now.